Welcome back to the channel. Yeah, customers bought a brand new Jazzmaster and he wants me to set it up for him. So I thought we'd do the unboxing here and set up the guitar and then maybe have a little play and see how the guitar is before it's set up and after it's set up, and have a look at maybe what it's made of. So let's get to unboxing it. Doesn't look like a guitar box, does it? It's got gears on it. Here it is. That's the model. It's a Jazzmaster Vintage 250s reissue. Ooh, I think it's got a bag with it. That's the whammy. I don't really use a lot of whammy. Oh, it's got no thread on it, so it's a push one. That's interesting. Oh, look at that. It's got a pick zip. That's quite cool, isn't it? You're into that sort of thing. What does it say? Since 1940. Anything in there? Right. It's good that they're giving it. So, it's a fender bag. Here we go. So there we are. Well wrapped, isn't it? Let's see. It's a nice sound, isn't it? Here we are. That's a bit of silicone. Keep the old, keep the damp out. 3 online lessons. Handy, isn't it? So, what's that? Oh, it's just the signed on the assembly line that it's quality control, that it's been checked out, it's been inspected, tune tested, assembled by whoever that is, and prepped by that person. So these have all done something to it. Let's see how it is. Take the old silicone out. So I think I'm going to tune it up and see how good a job the is that Gelu? Is it Gelu? See how good a job these people have done from the factory. So, okay, so I can see already that the action's too high. There's 2 things that are doing that. One is the truss rod is too loose, so there's too much relief in the neck. That's one of the reasons, and you can tell that because when if you clamp down the string there and there, top and bottom, you can see, I don't know, you can see the gap. And then obviously the height of the saddles. So there's that. And to do the truss rod on these, you have to take the neck off because the truss rod's actually in there, which is a bit of a pain in the butt. But that's just the way it is. It's the way life is. So what's this made out of? Let's have a little look. So we've got a rosewood fretboard and with a C-shaped 50s neck which I'm guessing is that there, which is nice. Made in Mexico. This has got a 7.25 radius neck. 7.25 radius is a typical sort of 50s radius neck. So you've got a tighter curve. Whereas later on, as people became picking and rock and tapping and stuff, you get a flatter radius, such as a 9, 10, 12, 16 for Joe Satriani and Yngwie Malmsteen sort of types. So yeah, there we go. The difference between this and an original 50s is the nut seems to be, the nut's made of synthetic bone. So I guess the original, maybe the Fender one might have been a real bone. That's a synthetic bone, which is usually like an Ivoroid, which is actually good quality. Usually stops them sticking. Nothing wrong with Ivoroid. And do you know what? I've just noticed something. That string, see that string there? That's not sitting on the saddle right. It's come back in the middle there. There we go. And that one's not right either. Yeah, there's quite a bit of snobbery when it comes to sort of Fender products, and I have to say this is a Mexican Fender, not a USA one. And I have to say that I think some of the Mexican ones are just as good as the USA models in terms of, well, design and sound and things. Sometimes you have to upgrade pickups, but with this one I'm happy with the sound, so I think the customer will probably keep it all the same. There's two things to a setup. Basically, this end of the neck, if it's buzzing past the 12th fret, is usually due to the height of the saddles and bridge. This end of the neck, if it's buzzing here, is usually down to the truss rod or the nut. So that's the sort of rule of thumb that I go by. So I'm going to take the neck off, do the truss rod up, and see if we can get that curve, the relief, a bit straighter. But when you tighten the truss rod, you want to tighten it just enough so the strings start to sort of touch, and then back it off a little bit. The worst thing you can do is over tighten it. If you ruin a truss rod, basically you've ruined the guitar. So it's very important not to over tighten a truss rod, because the neck can go the other way and permanently be bent in the wrong way. So it's good to crack the screws off with a screwdriver by hand first, and in the reverse also, when you're doing the final tightening stages, do it by hand. Once you've cracked them off like that, then you can use a machine, which I haven't got here at the moment. Yeah, like a powered screwdriver. Saves a bit of time, doesn't it? But obviously don't tighten them up with a power screwdriver, because you can strip the threads, crack the wood, all sorts of issues really. Okay, I think that's totally off. There you go. There should be a date. Sometimes there's not a date, sometimes there's a date stamped in there. Doesn't look like this one's got one. Right, so I'll give it a quick tweak. So there's the truss rod there. Probably start off with quarter turns, but as I say, you really don't want to over tighten it. It's, let's try it there. Right, let's have a look at that relief on that truss rod now. That's a lot better, but it could still go a bit tighter. So, also we're going to check Mr. Whatever his name, Giller's, the tuner, whatever that is. I don't know what that is it? That man there who did that tuning. We'll check to see if he did do the tuning. I'm just going to check the intonation. which is obviously the octave. So we do the string open. Okay, there, and then we do the string on the 12th fret, and it's sharp, so that's going to need adjusting. We'll try the top E. Oh, that's nearly there. That's actually, that's bang on. So he did that one. I don't think he did the fat E, so we're the B. Bit sharp. Bit sharp. Not too bad though. That was alright. That looks nearly there. Let's have a feel of that. Yeah, so when I do a setup individually to every player, specifically individually. So depending on whether they play hard or light, depends on, you know, the gauge of strings you use, how high the action is, what sort of style they're playing, whether they're playing picking, whether they're playing tapping, rock, heavy, whether it's a 7-string guitar or whatever it is. Every setup is different and personally done to the person who is playing it. So you can't really say. I had someone the other day send me an email and asked me what was the measurement on a Strat would I say would be the typical measurement of height string on the 12th fret, and I said, well, I don't really measure. I do it to the each adjustment is done personally to each customer. So you can't say there is a standard measurement because everybody plays differently with different amount of pressure and different styles. So that's the way it goes. So you're better off getting a human to do your setup as opposed to like a Plek machine, that's for sure. These are really annoying me, so I might have to screw those down a bit because they're rattling like a rattly thing. Just a bit loose. When you're doing the saddles, you really want them sort of level. And these aren't level, so whoever did these had funny eyes. That's for sure. That needs to go a bit over there like that. That's better. So I might tighten the truss rod a fraction more, just to get it perfect. I'm just going to give it that. Not a lot. Most of this stuff is all done by feel, to be honest. And eye. Feel and eye. Yeah, so I'll peel the plastic off because I know some people get a bit of some people enjoy it in a funny sort of a way. See if we can. That's it. Oh, look at that. Look at that new chrome. It makes me go, Look at that, lovely. Put that back in. That's that. Tune it back up and see where we're at. You hear that? It's just starting to rattle at the bottom end. Which might mean the truss rod's too tight. Unless you want to play it, unless you're a light player, but it's just perfect. Now, because it's choking there, I'm going to go up on the bridge because it's choking there. So it needs to go up here a fraction. Now you can do it either with these global screws, or you can do it individually on the saddles. I'll try this. I'm going to give it one turn there. I think that's done that. So bearing in mind this has come from the factory, and if you look at the label, it's meant to have had 4 inspectors, tuners, assembly and prep people look at it. It was far from being able to play easily, that's for sure. So there we are, we're down to that now. You see that? So it's a much nicer, easier to play. Now the other thing I do with setups is you need to leave them 24 hours as well, because what you're talking about is you're shifting a lot of material, especially in the neck and the wood and the glue and everything. So I usually leave them 24 hours to settle down and then have a look at them the next day, because they can move with temperature and humidity and stuff. So it's best to give it 24 hours just to make sure where you're at. But that to me is roughly in the right area. Let's just double check that intonation, because it was on the top here, it was a bit, on that bass here, it was a bit out, wasn't it? But see, now I've brought down the bridge, it's bang on. Look at that, that's good, isn't it? One thing I've noticed after setting it up and playing it a little while is this E string here is not sitting in the slot. If you look at these here, they're sitting in the slot, but this is sitting on top. So I'm going to have to run a file through there for it to sit down properly. And that is from new. And these things happen, sometimes they come through like that from new. You get a manufacturing little problem like that, and they'll need, which is another reason why you should get the guitar set up properly, because people who know, who are experienced, will see that that's just sitting on top. And when you take the string out, if you look down there, you can see that this entrance opening here is smaller than the exit. So I'm just going to run a file through there and open it up a little bit for the string to sit better in the nuts. Give me special headgear on, because it's all fine work. Can you see me? Let's have a look. Oh, someone's called at the wrong time. Better just take this. Hello? Deep surgery. Deep surgery. So what I would do here is I'd just put a bit of lead in the needs to be a bit sharper than that, just to show where the file's touching, so you get a gauge. There we go, this stuff. What should do? So if I put the lead in the groove like that, then when I run the file through, it will show me what's touching. Now you don't want to take too much, because you can't put it back. See, that's not touching the bottom yet. You'll do it at the same angle as the string goes down. See, still not touching the bottom. So you can see why the string wasn't sitting in there, why it was sitting on top. Because it's narrower at the top, as it needed filing out a little bit. Still not touching. That's just starting to touch. That's it, it's just taking the top off of that lead. That's close enough. So, we'll put the string back in, tune her up, and see how she goes. There we go. Now, if you look at it here now, you can see it's sitting in more. It's a lot better. As I say, you've got to be really careful. You don't take too much off because you can't put it back. That's a huge difference. That's almost an entire string depth. I reckon that's a mil, which is quite a lot in setup terms. So we've gone through the whole thing. We did the truss rod, we've done the intonation, we brought the bridge down a little bit, and we also noticed a manufacturing issue with the bass E. And if anyone from Fender Mexico is watching, any of these 4 people, the preparation guy, the assembly guy, tune guy and inspector, I would just like to point out and make you aware that some of the others might have the same issue, where on a set of 10s, 46 gauge is not actually slotting correctly into the nut. So there you go. So we'll wrap that up. We'll wrap this up with a bit of a play and a bit of a, you know, see how it sounds.